This week, we learned once again that if you have a big name, regardless of when your actual abilities faded away, your ability to land a world title shot will always stay with you. Yesterday, a pair of world title fights were announced for later this year. First, a deal for the long-rumored clash between Mexican veterans Johnny Gonzalez and Jorge Arce was reached in principle, with the date slated tentatively for September 27th. In some ways, this fight is Mexico's version of HBO and Showtime coming together to air a fight. Gonzalez has fought most of his career on Televisa, while Arce and Zanfer Promotions traditionally make their home on TV Azteca. Gonzalez has only fought once since he scored the upset of the year in 2013, knocking out Abner Mares to win the WBC featherweight title. He looked fairly rusty as he pulled out a technical decision over Clive Atwell earlier this year. It's as good a chance as any for a miracle comeback world title win for Arce, and certainly the most lucrative one. Arce retired after a knockout loss at the hands of Nonito Donaire in 2012 and seemed sincere about it. But it wouldn't take too long for Travieso to get back on the horse, and he's notched 3 straight stoppage wins over pedestrian opposition since then, with 2 of those coming this year. Of course, there are questions about whether Arce should still be fighting at all, particularly against a naturally larger, murderous puncher like Gonzalez, but there have never been any explicit medical signs that Arce should hang them up. The same cannot be said for Jermain Taylor, who will get a crack at Sam Solomon's IBF title this October, most likely on ESPN2. Now, between 2007 and 2009, Taylor lost 4 of 5 fights, with 3 of them coming by knockout. The final one, at the hands of Arthur Abraham in the opening bout of Showtime's Super 6, was a frightening one. The knockout caused a subdural hematoma, a bleeding of the brain, and sent Taylor into de facto retirement for 14 months. But Taylor returned and was given a license in Nevada and put back on American television right away. In that sense, Taylor's situation is almost unprecedented. The only high-profile fighters in recent memory who returned to American TV after a serious brain injury have been Marco Antonio Barrera and Edwin Valero. However, Barrera's was deemed to be a pre-existing condition and Valero's to be secondary to forceful trauma. Taylor's happened inside the ring. U.S. networks have exiled any number of name fighters who continue to fight on under the presumption that they're in medical danger. And yet, despite the fact that Frankie Leal, a fighter who had also previously suffered a brain bleed, tragically died last year on television in Mexico, another U.S. network is going to play Russian roulette with Taylor. Nobody can tell a fighter what to do with his or her life. And as we know, well-known fighters will always be able to find a spot on the planet to fight. But networks do play an important role. They can choose to enable at-risk fighters or not. In saying no to Jermain Taylor, it's not just about saving Jermain Taylor, it's about saving the next fighter who is deciding whether or not it's a good idea to fight anymore. There won't be a universal boxing commission to handle these situations, maybe ever. But sometimes the people who have some semblance of power, especially those who have seen a tragedy on their own airwaves, need to do a little bit more than just shrug their shoulders.